Hi everyone. Just a big thank you to you all for coming today. And a little bit about us and what we're doing today is collaborating. So I'm Hannah, I'm from Human Spaces, and we're a serviced office provider, but we've got meeting rooms and we've got obviously this lovely event space as well. So if you've got any questions today, I want to have a little tour, just let me know, just grab me. But predominantly we're here today with the After Work Club, and we've got a behind the brand sort of little chat and talk for you today. So we've got 3 speakers, so they're just going to talk through their companies from start to finish, you know, how they've built their brand and like everything surrounding sort of their journey to get where they are today. We're going to have the 3 speakers, we're going to have a couple to start with, a little break, we've got some pizza from Cuckoo, and then we'll finish with our last speaker. And then you can have a little bit of networking if you fancy it. But yeah, thank you for coming today. Toilets are just through the doors if you haven't found them already. Couple thank yous as well to go to our Cano. They've sponsored us today, supported us today. Obviously Cuckoo, and then our speakers as well. So without further ado, and 21 degrees as well, sorry, on the filming. Thank you for that. Without further ado, we've got Kyle Harris from Ryde. There we go. So starting in Leeds and now expanding into Manchester and Liverpool, Kyle has built a strong community-led brand in a very competitive market. That's me. I forgot about the clicker. There we go.
Hey guys, thank you so much for coming down. So the After Work Club reached out and asked me to come down and speak about Ryde. I'll take you a little bit back so you can sort of understand who I am first. I was the kid at school who was getting told off all the time. I didn't do very well at school. I was that kind of C to D grade student. I was always looking out the window, dreaming of bigger things instead of learning what was being taught in school. I joined the army at 16. Served for 10 years. I did 2 tours of Afghanistan. I did a couple of jobs in northern Pakistan, and I did a trip over to Syria to do a 2-week job over there. When I left the military, I moved to London and I worked in a personal training studio called Body Reform, real high-end boutique fitness studio. And it was the first time that I'd been put into kind of money and wealth and how well people could do for themselves. And I decided that I wanted to do a little bit more for myself while I was in that environment. When I was in London, I saw a big change in the fitness industry. So this was around 2013. And what I saw was big corporate gyms were sort of closing down. Big gyms that had sort of taken the fitness space were moving out of the city centres. You know, rent was going up, costs were going up, service charges were going up. And what I saw were kind of smaller boutique studios that were offering a more premium product at a more premium price point, but were better at what they did. And I became a customer of those boutique studios, Cycle and Barry's Boot Camp and some of the yoga studios that really started to thrive in the kind of 2013, 14, 15 era down in London. I started to earn enough money myself, and being in London, you try and keep up with the London people. I had high-end personal training customers that I was trying to keep up with. So I was earning more money, but also spending more money at the same time. Made a decision that if I'm going to spend my time in London, I need to save my money and do something with it. So worked for 2 years, saved up all my money, and found some really good investors while I was in that room. So I was in the PT studio with MD and above kind of bankers, brokers in the investment world. I managed to have conversations with them and find myself 2 investors. Moved up to Leeds and opened up L1 Performance. Did anyone come to L1 Performance? Anyone? No one? Oh, okay. L1 Performance was the kind of first boutique studio to come to Leeds. We did personal training, group training, physiotherapy. We also did yoga, Pilates, and we had a small little spin studio. It was a big space down at Wellington Place, down at 6 Wellington Place. We were there for 5 years. And at first it was supposed to be just personal training and group training. But it didn't really take off in the way that I saw it happening down in London. So what we did is we started to expand the studio classes. And Ryde was a small little spin studio on the 2nd floor. We had 10 bikes when we first opened, and it became really popular, it became busy. It was a little bit different to what was going on in the rest of the fitness scene in Leeds. So what we did is we put 5 more bikes in there, had 15 bikes. It got busier. We knocked down a wall. I put 5 more bikes in there, got 20 bikes, knocked down a wall, took out my office, put 10 bikes in there. We had 30 bikes up in the spin studio. And I decided to split the brands because it was a completely different feel. L1 was a very city kind of PT vibe, lawyers, accountants, very corporate style. That was on our social media as well. Ryde was a completely different vibe and was attracting different people. So we split the brand, and Ryde became busier than L1. And we lasted there for 5 years. In the 5th year, we had more people on the wait list than we had space inside the classes. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we used to have 30 people in the classes and 60 people on the wait list. As I first launched my first business, it got to COVID. And I can remember it, 11th of April, 22nd of April, 11 o'clock, Boris Johnson closed all fitness studios and gyms. I had no idea what to do. Rang up the landlord. He said, you need to pay your rent a month in advance. I was like, thanks. Rang a couple of my PT clients from London who were bankers, traders. 3 of them individually said, you need to cut your cash flow, cut your business if you can get out, because this isn't like a 6-week holiday that we were hearing at the time. This is a couple of year issue. Rang up my landlord. We were at our 5-year break point, decided to close the business down the very weekend that gyms were closed. Reflecting on it, I made a really good decision. I managed to pay back all my staff, managed to pay back all the customers who bought credits, and I managed to leave L1 with a good name, knowing that I could come back to the same city because brand is so important inside these cities. Closed down L1, sat through COVID, designed Ryde, and then in 2022, we opened up our Leeds studio, which is literally just over the road. And we opened that. And because we handled the way we closed L1 down, we had a rush of customers coming back to us. The way that we treated them, let them know we were closing down properly, did it in a certain way where we could pay them back. I paid my staff back and paid them salaries. And anyone that worked for me for more than 2 years got made redundant. So we had enough cash to do that. And treating those people like that meant that our brand had that good name. So when I opened Ryde, people would come in. We opened the Leeds studio. The Leeds studio is in the building over here, just on East Parade. At the same time we were fitting out our studio, the landlord was converting the building into flats. We finished our fit out before him, and we had various issues going on. It took between when we were supposed to open and when we opened, it was a 6-month period. So a huge delay, mainly because when the flats fitted their showers, we closed up one weekend, the shower came through the floor and was leaking water. So when we came back on the Monday, there was about 2 foot of water all around my whole studio. It was like a swimming pool, and I hadn't ordered a swimming pool from the fit out company, but it ruined all the walls. So we had to strip it all out, start again, and start the fitness and start the business. When we opened, people came flooding through, and we were so happy that we had seen it through and decided to reopen under the name Ryde. So Ryde is a boutique fitness studio. We predominantly do rhythm ride kind of spin class, but it's to the beat of the music. We take out all the kind of metrics that you would get inside a normal spin class, and it's more about the physical element of the spin class is there. We don't need to talk about it. It's the well-being and mental health that we provide. So it's a community that we like to bring to the studios, the mental health and looking after ourselves and checking in with each other. We also do yoga and bar and Pilates and other classes. We ran the Leeds studio here for 2 years. One of my staff, G, worked for me in front of house, and now is an amazing instructor with us. We then opened up the Manchester studio. I was really shocked that this type of studio wasn't in Manchester already. So when it came to us opening a second studio, Manchester was a complete no-brainer. Such a big city. I hadn't spent much time in Manchester. I'm from Harrogate originally, grew up in Leeds, joined the army. I didn't realise how big Manchester was until I got the wrong train to Piccadilly instead of Victoria and had to walk across the city. I was like, wow, this is like a huge city. Opened up on Deansgate, and we've been running the studio there for 2 years now. We are about to open up our 3rd studio in Liverpool in about a week and a half time. So the real 3 kind of prominent cities in the north, we are hoping to run a great branding community. In our business, we focus on 3 really important things. These 3 things has taken me 10 years to really narrow down and work out that if we can get these 3 things right, we can probably open up any city or town that we want to. The main three things that we work on, the first one is service. So the service comes down to our front of house team. And when I first wanted to open the boutique studio, I wanted somebody to walk down the stairs who was brand new to the studio feel like it was their 100th class, so that they were met and known by the front of house team and by the instructors by name, so that they had that feeling that, okay, like this is home, this is where I belong. So service has always been something really, really important to us. And the way that we meet and greet people, the way that we show them around the studio is about them. And you will hopefully like say the same, that unlike a normal gym, we don't push sales. We believe that who we are and what we are will bring the sales. Whereas in the normal corporate kind of gym, I'm sure that you've all walked into a Virgin Active, you get jumped on by a salesperson, they try and sign you up for 12 months and they promise you that the sign up fee is free. We want to be in the complete opposite world. We'll come in, we'll show you who you are, hopefully you'll like who we are and what we're doing, and then you can go away and make a decision. And what we've found is that we have more of a sign-up ratio from that service than if we were trying to sell people and bring people in through a sales. So the service is really, really important. Service also comes down to cleaning. We make sure that the changing rooms are the most cleanest things that you could ever see, because it doesn't matter how good the class is, it doesn't matter how good everything else inside the studio. If you come in and the showers smell or the toilets are dirty, you're not going to come back. So service is so, so important. It's the number one thing that we work on with our front of house team. The second point is product. So for us, people could go to, I won't say names, other gyms, and they could do a spin class as part of their membership. And they could think, why would I have a free class as part of my membership or pay £18 to come to Ryde? What is the difference? Well, the difference is the product. And this just fits into any business, right? Product is so important. Our product has to be different. It has to stand out so that when someone's done it, they've gone, I get it, I understand. So our product, and we build our spin studio, if you think of a normal spin class, it is all based around those metrics of heart rate, hill sprints, how fast you're going, how hard you're working. They're giving numbers to you. And for a lot of us who work in business or in any job, we work in numbers all day long. So why would you want to come be involved in another metric? So we've got rid of the metrics. Our conversation inside our product is about you, your well-being. And if any of you done yoga classes, that kind of conversation that happens, that verbiage, that the language that they use is what we do. It's about checking in with yourself, making sure that you're okay, checking in with other people, and actually just putting that effort in. A lot of places when you go there, they sort of say, leave your troubles at the door. We say, bring your troubles into the door. The product that we teach means that our instructors have to go through an academy. So we don't just have any sort of spin instructor. We don't have anyone just come up and take a spin class. You have to be selected through kind of interviews, going through to our academy, being trained by our senior trainers, and then ongoing training all the time that happens to make sure that our product is the best that it can be it in the spin room, the cycle room or the yoga room. The instructors that deliver our product have to be motivated, one, to teach the best class. So we do it through like pay scales. But also the product has to keep on growing. So the class that we used to teach 5 years ago or 6 years ago, L1, isn't the class that we teach now inside the studio. The product has to keep evolving to keep people coming back and wanting to come to our class. And then the third one is community. And community is the word that everyone loves to throw around. Everyone likes to talk about, we've got a great community. My definition of a community is that the people that you think are in the community will talk about the community when you're not in the room. If you have those people talk about you, your brand, and bring people, recommend people without you being involved in that conversation, that's when you have a community. And we found that community is so much more important in the fitness world now, more post-COVID than it was pre-COVID. When we used to run L1 and we used to try and get people to come and do a class and then go for a social, you'd get 4 people come. Now when we run our socials, 45 people book onto the class, and then we get 60, 70 people come to the socials afterwards, because people want to feel a part of that community, right? And we think it's such a powerful tool. So those 3 things are what we base our business on: service, product, and community. And we wrap it in social media. We think social media, and as AI will evolve, we think social media encompasses everything that the business of the 21st century sort of needs. If you're not, in my opinion, like broadcasting on a social media platform about your business or about your brand, then you're probably losing out. We like to keep our social media very organic, so we don't do any social, or we do, the odd professional photo, but most of it is organic because we want people to feel like they are that person on the bike. So it's not a professional photo of Sarah with her hair flicked back wearing the best clothing. It is Karen who's come for the first time, who's worked really hard and shows that everyone else at home can come and be a part of our community. We don't do paid ads at all. We don't pay for any marketing in any of our cities. Everything comes through our social media and through word of mouth. And we believe that if we have our service, our product, and our community on point, there are 3 pillars of the business. If those 3 are strong enough to hold the business together, wrap social media in that, then that's our business all in one. Is that me time? 1 minute? Yeah, I think that's probably enough for the. Do you want to do? Is it questions? Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Boutique fitness. Yep.
What's it going to look like in 5 years' time?
So our plan is. Oh, do you want to ask the question back? What's our plan in 5 years' time? Our plan is 5 years' time is to keep on growing. So what we want to do now is I started our business with private investors, a couple of people who I knew put some money into the business. And then because we had a brand, we had a working P&L and a business, we could then go to other investors that were private investors. The 3 studios that we've done, we've taken investment on. What we're hoping now is to go into the more kind of PE JV world because we have a P&L that pays money. Our EBITDA is profitable, so hopefully we can go down that way. And with that, we want to expand at a quicker pace. So we're looking Edinburgh, Birmingham, Newcastle. And what we want to do is keep on doing Ryde, but we also want to bring out a second viable studio. We believe that those 3 pillars can be transferred into a different product. We want to jump more into the kind of high rocks group training studio and provide a different product, but follow the same business plan in the same city so that we can have that community of people who want to come to Ryde. Those who don't come to Ryde will typically come to this studio. And if they want to come to both, they can have that crossover, understanding that they're in the same community. Yeah, in the same city that we already have the brand in. Any more questions? Yes.
Do you worry about the popularity of spin, because it's a popular movement, meaning that there's going to be a lot more competitors opening around you? Like in Leeds especially, I feel like one match bar opens and suddenly 4 more do as things get more popular. Do you worry that there'll be more spin studios or more studios like yours that'll open and that'll be bad?
I believe. Oh, sorry. Am I worried about? Am I worried about competitors opening? No, I've never been worried about competitors. The 3 pillars that we have, I believe, can hold against someone else's 3 pillars. At the moment, we've not had the competitive edge of another studio do exactly what we do, so I've not been through it. But at the same time, when I heard another studio was potentially opening, I was quite excited by it. I was hoping that there was a potential like Soul Cycle, which is a big American brand, we're going to open in Leeds. And I think that would have actually added to who I am. So I've been watching the industry down in London. Every street corner has a spin studio, Cycle, Soul Cycle. And when Cycle, which is like the predominant London-based studio down in central London, when Soul Cycle opened up around the corner, their revenue increased by 1/3. Because what happens in the boutique fitness world, unlike kind of corporate world where you get a 12-month contract, you stay with me, you're my client, in the boutique fitness world, we actually encourage people to go to other studios. So our front of house team in the Leeds studio, for example, will recommend people go down to Tribe, go down to High Club, go down to used to be Yoga Hero, Yoga Cooler, and go try those studios. Because what we see in the boutique fitness world is that people want to be in a community, be a part of different communities, but also social media plays such a big place. People want to be seen inside these different studios. So you'll see that boutique studios like F45 have a big logo. Everyone stands next to F45 and tags himself in the studio. Same in Ryde, we have a big R, people tag themselves in Ryde, they go to Barry's, they tag themselves in the mirrors. And we've seen by recommending people to other boutique studios, we then have customers and clients stay with us for a much longer time. And some of the other boutique studios play the same game. So whereas we don't pay for any marketing, we do all organic, someone like Tribe or High, they do their local marketing to the local people. But actually the boutique studios are working in one community. And we've seen that by doing that game, we hold people longer within our bigger community and actually brings more people in. That answers it. Any more?
Yeah.
How integral, you've got obviously quite a distinct brand identity, how integral to the success of Ryde would you attribute?
Yeah, I think having the brand of having that R and that ride has been really, really powerful. So on our, we can't see it, but on the bikes, we have our branding everywhere. And what we do, as well as people taking their own photos, the front of house team are like, they'll take their phone off them and take the photo against our branding and push it onto social media. And we get people, the first thing that people do is in all our studios is come down and take a picture next to the Ryde logo, and it goes on social media. They tag us, we share it. It's incredible how just a small piece of like that there with people stood next to it. 8 years ago, I probably would have to spend $5 a month on marketing to get the reach that does on Instagram and TikTok, probably even more. When I worked down in London, the owner of the PT studio paid $25 a month on marketing and lead generation. That gets me more people just by that brand. We put that brand on there, we put it on the bikes, and then we have little touches of it around the studio. So if you go in the bottom of the shower doors, how's the Ryde on there? And just in key little places where people can take a photo and tag. Yes, mate.
I was going to say, do you have any advice on finding investors if you're not training them in like high boutique places in London?
Yeah, you've got to put yourself in the room. So places like this is absolutely perfect. Like the people that Rob will attract into his marketing events is the way you need to be. When I had my first 2 or 3 people to do those events, to raise that money with, but then after that I had to put myself inside the room. I had to attend events like this, which I do on a regular basis to Leeds, Manchester, Liverpool. I go to Birmingham, and I put myself in those rooms to have those conversations. And it's amazing to come up and talk and hear these things. But when at half time it stops and the pizzas are out, that's when you're going to go find your investor. And you might not find the investor, but the conversation that you have at the pizza stand or having the drink might lead, oh yeah, I know someone who's involved in Leeds Angels, or I know someone who's just sold their company. Conversation, business is all conversation. You've got to have as many conversations with people. LinkedIn, Instagram, these are all places where you can find people. When I was raising money for Liverpool, I used to cold message about 100 people a day on LinkedIn. Same message, copy and paste. I'd go onto LinkedIn, go to Liverpool, type in investor, and it narrows it down. All those people on a daily basis. On Monday, I'd like as many people who I could. I think you can do like 200 follows on a day. I'd follow them. When they click through, message. And I got 2 investors in Liverpool from doing that. It took me about 9 months to find those 2 people, sending 5,000 messages. But being in the rooms like this and talking is where you'll find them. We got time for one more, or we? Nope. Hi guys. Thank you very much.